also up. Hi there, weirdos.
Freaks!
We are on episode 26 of Bum's Corner Coast to Coast, where we've now amalgamated all of these other shows into like this hydra of podcast monstrosity.
Yes, cut off our head and 2 more podcasts will appear.
Oh, yes. This is the Cerebus podcast now.
Oh, I guess I always get the Hydra and the Cerebus mixed up. I thought Cerebus was the dog.
Cerebus is the dog. This is the 3-headed podcast that like guards the gates to Hades now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, I think if you cut off the head of a Hydra, 2 more appear or something to that extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, before we get into the nostalgia, what have you been up to this past month? Anything interesting happen in your world?
Oh, okay. Remember, like a year and a half ago, and I was talking. No, I don't mean vaguely. And I was talking about how I was trying to develop this app for the radio app for AFN.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Finally got it done.
No way.
It's launched. It's not perfect, but it's launched. It launched actually back in March. I'm sorry, April.
Mm-hmm.
But all the features are now on and working.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like an app for Android and iOS that people can listen to AFR?
Yeah, for AFN radio. Yeah. But it's geo-blocked for only overseas. That's
gotcha.
For our audiences. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. Congrats.
Yeah. Finally done with that. And that was like, it's like a huge weight off my shoulders. Like,
I bet.
Now I can get back to the job I was hired to do.
Right? Crazy how that works out, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any progress on the relocation front?
It's slow, but I know the organization just onboarded its first fully remote worker.
Okay.
They're in Virginia, and they report to and work for the folks out here in California.
Nice. Well, that's fantastic.
The IT guys all FedExed all their equipment and stuff to them, and
right.
So the poor dude's going to be the guinea pig. But there are, let's see, I think just in the next couple of weeks, there's 2 or 3 others that are in the chute. They get onboarded, and they're going to be remote working as well. So if all goes well, I mean, policy wise, everything for us to go remote work has been approved.
Mm-hmm.
Internally, really for us, we're working and waiting on various cybersecurity requirements.
Sure.
To get full approval.
Right.
Right now, we're working under a sort of emergency authorization to be working remote as we are now because of the COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to make that quote unquote permanent, there's a whole bunch of cybersecurity stuff that has to get squared away.
Oh, I'm sure.
Pending that, we out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the target on the wall. I mean, I figure maybe this time next year we'll be house hunting.
Well, that's awesome, dude. Congrats.
That's the hope. That's the plan. Did we see? I had to put a target on a wall, and I figured, we'll give them a year to get things squared away, and
that's very cool.
Yeah,
it's funny. Like, I don't know how long ago you posted it because I'm only on the website like once every 6 months or so. But on LinkedIn, you had posted up a procurement position.
Yeah,
like that's literally what I do. It was hilarious. I'm reading through this. I'm like, man, this sounds kind of awesome. And blah blah blah. And so I've been in procurement for about 20 years, public and private sector.
Mm-hmm.
I've been public for 5 years now. Work on multi-million-dollar contracts on a daily basis, and I'm nowhere near the fucking requirements for your job posting.
Dude, I do half of those requirements on a regular
Right.
basis because our contracting situation, and I debated even bringing it up to you because like I wouldn't want to invite my worst enemy to work in that situation, let alone my brother. So
Right.
um, but I mean, I will say things are getting better. They completely cleaned house essentially and
Right.
are rebuilding that activity. So, uh, yeah, for the last 2 years or so, I've done a huge portion of the contract specialist and procurement officer's job. But yeah, it's like I don't write contracts.
Right.
I'm a disc jockey. I'm just a dumb rock jock from
Right.
Ohio. Like, oh
Uh,
god, I submit stuff and I'm like, I'm going to jail. I don't
right.
know. I don't know what I don't know. So I know I've missed something. So I'll submit
Yep.
it. I'll send a copy to my boss. And I'm like, I hope we're okay.
Yep. That's like rule number one is stay out of the newspaper.
Yeah.
That's the key. Yeah, but it was just funny. And again, I think I went on there to like find somebody I used to work with to see if they had any contact information. I'm like, oh shit, Arnholt posted? That guy's never on here. I'm like, wait a fucking second.
I'm a LinkedIn stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow a lot of industry
Okay.
and technology folks and
I'm
companies
with you.
and people. So a lot of times I'm just up there looking for the latest and the best practices and what industry standards have changed to, and most recently, how they've been operating remotely given our situation.
Right. Okay.
It was really cool. Back in June, went out to Denver to tour the Westwood One facility.
Oh
Westwood One. I don't know if
wow.
you've been to Westwood
Yeah.
One. They're also Cumulus. They're one of the big dogs.
Right.
Went out there to their tech office, and there's like four guys.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And I was talking, we were talking to them, and it's like, yeah, when the order came down to bug out, like it was a mad dash out the door. Like we were just
Right.
throwing laptops and mics and headphones at jocks, and they went home,
Wow.
and we figured it out. And they've all been working from home ever since. Ordinarily they had a standard, like about 100 people that were in that building at the time,
Right.
and like, yeah, there were four that we talked to, and like two of them came in for the meeting, to hang out with us. So it's wild, and it was cool because the stories that they were telling us about how they reacted and how they adjusted their operation and process pretty much mirrored how we did it.
Oh, really? That's very cool.
So it was really kind of like, all right, sweet, we got it.
Right.
Because we don't know. You don't know. You just go there.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You do the best you can. You figure out the most logical in your head way to do something. But it's always nice to kind of get that reaffirmation from, especially someone like a Westwood One,
Oh, absolutely.
just a global powerhouse, to say, oh yeah, okay, cool. We did the same thing. Right on.
Mm-hmm. That's neat.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me think. It's been quiet here. So a couple of weeks ago, all right, let me backtrack. So about a decade ago, I threw away my last pack of cigarettes and walked into a vape store
Yeah.
and bought all the bullshit, blah, blah, blah. So over the past 10 years, I've been weaning myself off of the nicotine. You know how you can go,
Right.
you lower
step down.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
step down the
I just
nicotine
kept
content.
lowering, the milligrams per milliliter. I kept lowering and lowering. Earlier this year, I got to 0. So a couple weeks ago, it was a Monday morning. So I got up and I was doing my morning routine of, breakfast, coffee, started working, decided I was done working after about 20 minutes and went in to watch TV. So I'm just kind of sitting there, queuing up the Sunday night shows.
Yep.
To watch while I work and realize I'm like, shit, I haven't touched my vape all morning. I'm like, It's 9:30. I wonder if I can go until 11. And then that turned into, I wonder if I can go until bedtime. And that turned into, I wonder if I can go until Tuesday. So as of tomorrow night, it'll be 2 weeks since I've touched the vape.
Okay.
And again, I've been at 0, so I haven't been getting any nicotine into my system, but it's the physical habit, of like, oh, I sit down, I automatically reach over here and grab it kind of thing that I finally have broken. So,
wow.
That's awesome. I calculated out, I smoked for about 25 years.
Yeah.
And not off and on either. I was like, I picked it up pretty quick, and I was a quick study.
Yeah.
So it was let's call it a pack a day for 25 years. And then I spent 10 years weaning myself off via the vape. So I think I'm done at this point, knock on wood, that I might have finally gotten out of there.
I wish I could. I really, and I want to. It's been time. So, and I've tried to quit a few times.
Right.
And honestly, just like for me, going cold turkey for a couple of days hasn't been a big problem. It's kind of like, okay, well, good. All right. I'm edgy. I'm not comfortable. Right. Yep. I hate this, but okay. But I'm all right. And then it's like just go ahead.
Right.
I'll just have one. What the hell? Maybe I'll just do 4. Maybe I'll just do 2 a day. Well, you've gone a week without smoking. You can just do 2 a day,
right?
And then it's like 20.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
But
and I'd fool myself too, and I was like, before I started vaping, when I was still smoking, I'm like, well, if I just don't buy any, and then you're at the gas station at 11:30 at night, like, okay, fine, I give. But I think I might be done this time, which thank God, And honestly, and I know it's cliche, but every time you quit, it's a little easier than the last time. So eventually it'll stick. You'll get there.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I am thinking about using the vape thing.
Mm-hmm. Highly recommend.
And I got it back when, remember V2 from about 10, 15 years ago? V2 cigs. They were
yes.
They were like one of the first kind of vape things to get. They had a little canister that screwed onto the tip of the cigarette. Yep. And it looked like a cigarette.
Yep. I had one of those.
We did those for a while.
Yeah.
But it kind of was like, this is going to be a long flight. I'm going to go ahead and bring this.
Right.
Or, what's going to be, several hours before, we never smoked around our son. So
right.
That was the perfect sort of, I can just duck over here and basically take a couple of hits, and he's done.
So you're just supplementing.
It was. I augmented my addiction with the vape. So it was more socially responsible.
That's amazing. So since and again, it's probably a cliche, but everybody says like it's the hardest thing in the world to quit. Now that I've got this down, I think I'm going to finally try heroin.
Dude, go for it!
Right?
You got this. Fuck that horse.
If I can do one, I can easily do the other, right?
They've always said it's harder to quit than heroin. So I think you are. Yeah.
I mean, I've done the math. So if I've done the harder of the two things, this one should be easier.
It should be nothing.
Yeah. And shit, I'm already in my 50s. If it takes another 35 years to quit, I'll be in my mid 80s, chasing the dragon. Fine, whatever.
By that time, just ride it out, man.
Exactly.
This be all like, fuck you, I'm old.
Fuck you, I'm old.
Find my vein.
Right? Oh, shit.
Between those, my grandkids are coming over.
Oh, that's the best. Oh, fuck. No, I'm done. I don't need to get high, man. I'm high on life. And gummies. I'll eat the shit out of gummies. But other than that, I'm good. I don't need anything else.
The loaded gummies?
Yeah. Well, and the kind that just gets you fat too. I eat the shit out of those also. Yeah.
Like, I like a Harborough.
Oh, those are the bomb, man.
Yeah.
I'll never know what a stale one of those tastes like.
I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, like I'll buy that big fucking bag, the shame bag,
Yeah. Right.
and I'll put it on the shelf. I'm like, don't bother getting to know anybody in here because you fuckers are not going to survive the night.
Yeah. Oh man.
What else? Spent the afternoon with the Egelhoffs.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I haven't seen them in shit
decades.
Yeah.
At least a decade. Yeah.
I think Dylan was 3. Last time I saw them.
Wow.
When they had that party at their place when we were there.
Yeah. Holy fuck. That was the last time you saw him.
I think so.
God damn. Yeah, I just reached out. It had been a couple months. I reached out to Ginger. I'm like, hey, just checking in. And she's like, what are you guys doing this weekend? And I said, okay. We're going to a plant store that's having a craft show in it. And then I just shut up at that point. And she got all excited. She's like, that sounds cool as shit. I'm like, well, then join us, come hang out. So we zipped around this plant store and craft show for a little bit. And we're like, hey, there's a whole bunch of breweries within a 5-mile circle of this place. Let's go to all of them. Yeah. So,
dude, I so miss Columbus. There's just such an attitude of, hey, what would make this better? Let's put about 3 bars outside.
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, fuck you. Since you've been here, I swear to God, you cannot swing a stick and not hit like 2 breweries. They're everywhere.
That's crazy. I mean, there is no. I am in literally a desert of multiple levels.
Wow.
There is one little bar about a mile away, and that's it. In my within safe drunk driving distance, which doesn't exist anymore for me. But within
the views and opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the DJs. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, on a good day, there's a bar within walking distance of here, but literally like a 6-minute drive, I'm at 2 different breweries, and all of them have like amazing drinks and food trucks out front and beautiful patios. So, I'm not looking forward to going to the doctor this fall for my checkup. Let's just put it that way.
What's interesting because like Columbus just totally embraced like bar culture.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, OSU.
Yeah. I mean,
you have 60,000 borderline alcoholics in your backyard.
Yeah. They all relocate somewhere within the area.
Exactly.
Yeah. It just, I think I took it for granted when I lived there. But like, God, there were like thousands of tons, like millions of bars when we were there. When I was there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like shit, if, pre-cell phone, if we couldn't find each other, we would just do like a lap of all the different bars that person hung out at, and eventually you'd find them. Yeah.
It's like, there you go. He's probably at O'Reilly's.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
If he's not at Polo's, he's at O'Reilly's.
Yep. Every time I drive by that place.
It's still there?
Yeah, it's still there. I can hear the sound you would make when you would forget the step is there at the bar.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
And so, like, because it's like to get to Lost Weekend Records, I have to drive by there. So I drive by it, and in the back of my head, I can hear, shut of you, like, just missing that step. But that's what I associate with O'Reilly's.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, Christ.
I'm sure that design looked great on paper.
It's not the only bar that's like that either. So I don't know.
But then again, it's largely on me. it's, it's not like I didn't know there was a step in the 14 million times I've been there. But it's like, I think by the time I leave, I've destroyed so many brain cells.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I go in, it's like revisiting an old friend who's like I've kind of forgotten about.
Yep, exactly. So, a completely unintentional, but what an amazing segue into the actual meat of tonight's episode.
Yeah, you think that was unintentional?
Oh my God, you're a master. I am like putty in your hands. Great one. So, one of Tom's shows in our nostalgia database was Cheers.
Where everybody knows your name.
Everybody does know your name. So, let's go back to the period of fucking 1982 to 1993. Tell me about your relationship with this show. Like, what about this show made you put it on the list for things that made you feel nostalgic?
I think it's because it was on pretty much throughout our formative years,
Mm.
And beyond. I mean, this was 82. What we were, math.
What, 12, 13?
12, 13, 13,
7th, 8th grade, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So it lasted through our time in high school and into college.
Yep.
So I mean, we grew up with this show on, and it was on, I think, NBC. That must see TV block.
Must see TV.
Yep. It was marketed brilliantly, and it's just one of those things that I always remember sort of being there. It was just always on, and there was always somebody at school talking about it. It seemed, and it's one of those shows. Until I sat down and watched it again, just this go around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I realized the impact it had. I think initially I put it on the list because it was just one of those shows I remember from then.
Right.
And it's interesting because I watching it again, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember talking about this episode, or I remember talking about that, or this,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
So it was one of those shows, not the first, I don't think, but it was one of those shows that you watched it, and the next day at school, it was like a water cooler, but
right.
The middle school version of the water cooler,
right?
Kind of show.
I'm sure I'm sure a lot of the comedy when we were in 7th or 8th grade probably went completely over our heads, but some of it was very slapsticky too,
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. It was funny on many levels.
Yes.
Kind of like Bugs Bunny in a lot of ways. It's like, that's much funnier when you're older.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of the comedy of the show was lost on me.
Oh, for sure.
At that age, a child watching it. A lot of the drama was lost on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing that I noticed rewatching this. I did not remember the depth that they would sometimes go to in certain things, and the gravitas that they would embrace in just like the heavy subjects that they would broach. And they did it in a way often that was light and palatable. I think palatable is the right word. Some of the subject matter that they dealt with was for the time unprecedented, but they did it in a way that was just very
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And it was a lot lighter than, let's say, going back to Taxi, they covered a lot of heavy stuff on there, but it was also done in a heavy way. This was way more like MASH, when if there was something heavy on, that was just a heavy episode.
Yeah.
And you didn't walk away, with that, okay,
Yeah.
But this, the writing on this was different, where they would broach those subjects, but again, it was done just through the filter of the comedy, where say, okay, we're going to address this, but we're not going to go very far from our roots, our comedic roots.
At our core DNA, we're comedy.
Mm-hmm.
We can tickle these things,
right?
But it's a tickle. We're not poking anything. It's a tickle,
right? Okay, so
how about you?
See, I try to remember, and I guess I didn't have the connection with the show that I thought I did. I have recollections of seeing it when I was younger, and ironically, I don't know if it was because it, again, like you said, it was in the background our entire lives, but fucking our 20s, we kind of turned into these characters.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, but
right.
Looking back, like you said, that time period where 7th and 8th grade, all through high school into our early 20s, this show was on. I guess it never really connected with me because I never connected with any of the characters. I appreciated it for the comedy.
Yeah.
I watched it because, like you said, it was on that must-see TV time slot. So I caught most of these episodes, but it never resonated with me to a certain extent. Yeah. I appreciated it, but if I missed a week, I don't think I would have lost any sleep, kind of thing.
Right. I mean, it was sort of ambient.
It was just sort of that's there. A great way to put it. Yes,
and that's kind of how it's great that you brought up. None of these characters resonated with me. I never identified with anybody.
Yeah. And honestly, screen. Like a 15, 16-year-old, I didn't give a shit about, is it going to be Rebecca? Is it going to be Diane? Again, Sam to me was he was the setup guy for Coach's punchline is all he was,
Yeah.
There was nothing about the Sam Malone character that really drew anything out of me. So I didn't care. I was just there, because they were funny. This entire cast had incredible timing.
Yeah.
And, again, I could watch Rhea Perlman just read the phone book, and just the way she would read it would make me laugh,
Right?
Yeah.
And George Wynn's one-liners.
Oh, absolutely. And when you bring up the school stuff, that is what we brought into the classroom the next day. Yeah. Stuff.
How you doing? It's a dog-eat-dog world. I'm wearing milk bone underwear.
Milk bone underwear. Yep.
Yeah. That's the shit you brought in afterwards.
Absolutely.
And it's so interesting because it was such a different show after Diane left.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? I would say the show evolved after season 1.
It did. It did.
And then it did a quantum leap after Diane left.
Right. Well, it opened up like when Diane left and Rebecca came in. First off, the entire dichotomy of all the characters changed. So you got to basically call it a reboot. In essence, everybody's roles changed, and they spent a lot more time together outside the bar. Like if you look at the Diane era, yes, every once in a while there would be an episode where you'd go to somebody's apartment and do a scene there, but the meat of the show was right there in the bar. I mean, there were 3 cameras, and how many years went by before we saw the pool room?
Right? This mythical pool room.
Right.
That ended up not even being theirs.
Yeah, and the office. I mean, Sam's office was this world of mystery for so long. But I don't. And again, I don't know what did the budget change? Did the writers change? It just, again, looking at their IMDb, there were an ass load of writers throughout the year. So who knows? But you're right that once Diane left, the show did change, for better or worse. However you look at it. Personally,
my opinion, go ahead.
No. This is your baby.
Oh, better. The first 4 seasons were pretty tough. I won't say pretty tough. Season 1 was really tough.
Oh yeah.
3, 4, 2, 3, and 4 got better, but the good episodes were the ones that weren't about Sam and Diane. Will they? Won't they?
Yes, that's fair.
Because there was some great stuff going. I mean, they introduced Frasier, which was I think the smartest thing the show ever did. Because there was so much material there, and Kelsey Grammer played that character so perfectly, and he was everything that we needed him to be. And I can't say enough about the decision to include the Frasier character and then build upon that with Lilith and all the craziness surrounding that.
Oh yeah, Frasier and Lilith were the perfect foils.
Yeah,
to the cast that they had established. They were absolutely flawless.
Yeah, because they were the total fish out of water, like third person observer, sort of like, look at these Neanderthals,
right?
And yet they're there every day.
And that was the part. Yeah, that was the part that was great too. Like in real life, they never go back there. Like, this place is terrible.
Yeah,
and yet, but I think, season after season, they were integrated in there.
But I think, for Frasier, it was the family he never really had.
Mm-hmm.
Going to school in Boston, staying in Boston, being an academic, he never had any like real relationships or real connections. And it just so happens that it's these blue collar beer swellers,
Exactly.
But after seeing the Frasier spinoff, like, we know his dad, and so knowing his dad it all makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. That
he would hang out and be comfortable at the bar with these people because that's a connection to his father.
Yes, that was probably his home life, when he was growing up. Absolutely.
And Lilith, I think, just out of a morbid sense of curiosity, and she probably treated it all like a science experiment.
Yeah,
like, easily. This is like a living, her ant farm sort of thing.
Right. Honestly, I think that the Frasier Lilith characters were the best thing that came out of that show.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Again, I loved when Coach was on. He was just phenomenal. Fantastic. So good.
Oh my God. Some of that. For season 1, the only things I laughed out loud was the shit that came out of Coach's mouth.
Yes. And again, looking, before I started rewatching these, I was contemplating the original pass through. And for some reason, I kind of remembered them being more malicious towards Coach and then subsequently Woody also. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't there. I was remembering it incorrectly. It was all caring and compassionate. It's just these, you almost felt bad for Coach at times. Like, God damn, why is this guy working every day? He should be just in a home.
Why do you let this person drive? My God. Yeah, he should be like cared for someplace.
Yes.
He's family.
Yeah, here we are. So, and again, there was just no ill intent. It's just, Woody kind of took over that hole that Coach left, where they're so out there, and just the one-liners that both of them had were utterly fantastic. And Woody Harrelson was just amazing in this. And when you look now at his body of work,
right?
Like, could you watch him in like one of his recent movies and say, yeah, that this completely resonates with that Woody character back in Cheers? No, not at all.
There are, what the hell was it? It was, I forget the name. He's in charge of a assassin chick, and she goes sideways. They're in Japan. I forget. Came out about the same time as Gunpowder Milkshake, but it was a different show. Netflix, I think. But anyways, there are times when he will deliver a line or do like he'll do something, and I'm like, that's fucking Woody.
Right?
There are times throughout his career I've seen Woody emerge,
right?
like flashes, like, oh, there's 3 frames right there. That's Woody. That's Woody. I forget how his last name was, but yeah,
Boyd.
Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Councilman Boyd.
Yes. So, and again, because I didn't have that emotional connection, I went into this rewatch cold.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know. I kind of felt that the original cast was stronger. Let's just call it, the Diane era, because you had Coach there behind the bar. I think the show got a little more ambitious in the later seasons.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, the last 2 or 3 seasons I could have completely done without. This thing got so long in the tooth, but that is American television, that we just run things to the ground until you've squeezed every dollar out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And also NBC was terrible about this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look how long Frasier, Friends, Cosby were on TV. They wrung that towel out until there was nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
You
We're
know,
the narrator again.
Yes. So, you look at the BBC shows, they're like, all right, we've done 18 episodes. It's fucking amazing. Let's stop while we're ahead,
Yeah.
But this 271 episodes that this was on. That's crazy. But anyways, personally, I thought the first few seasons where it was just nice and simple, they had the formula, they stuck to the formula. I loved those seasons. And I'll agree with you. Season 1 was a bit rough until, everybody got their footing. But once they did, man, boom, they took off. I think the Diane / Woody, or I'm sorry, the Woody Rebecca era, it wasn't as pure and good and fun for me as those first few seasons. So where you saw it dip and then jump up, I just saw a slow decline in quality, I guess, after season 1.
Wow. Okay. No, I just think because again, I think when Diane left, I think you nailed it. It was a reboot. It was a different show,
right?
Because the 2 primary characters had one completely changed, and one had to evolve, and that's one thing that I think that bothered me most about seasons 1 through 4 is that Sam was such a static character,
right?
And as much as he would ebb and flow, he would show growth and then revert, and then grow and then revert.
Right.
Which, okay, I guess I kind of identify with that. But see, that little narrow bandwidth. But
right.
After Rebecca got there, the holistic change in the dynamic, I thought was handled very well. And then I loved Coach, but with the introduction of Woody,
right,
now you've got a character that can go someplace.
It's an interesting way to look at it,
and that's exactly what they did, because I think it's interesting. I found interesting is that Woody ends up being the most dynamic character of the entire show.
Right.
He comes from bumfuck Iowa, or wherever he came from, from the farm, this rural, to Boston as this just lost, wide-eyed bartender. And by the end of the show, he's a city council member.
Right.
And it's ironic, too. I think not ironic. I'm sure totally well-intended. At the last episode, he's on the steps. He's like, no, I don't think things should change. I like it when things stay this. He's the one that's like sitting there making this speech about how he wants everything to stay the same. And he's the only person in the entire fucking show that's had the most dramatic evolution.
Oh, absolutely. And also he's also the one that didn't have all of that baggage to carry around too. You know,
Oh
you
yeah,
could see Cliff or Norm make that jump in their personal lives or professional lives the way that Woody did, because
yeah,
Woody was still fresh and new and young.
yeah.
You know, shit. There were episodes where Norm would be sitting in a different chair, and the whole show would be thrown off for me. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? You know, something's different, but I don't like it. It's just because the room kind of shifted a little bit because he was sitting next to somebody making a joke.
Yeah.
So yeah, Woody was the perfect character to evolve like that because he
Right.
wasn't carrying around all of that extra weight.
And I think he was kind of the only one that could.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Sam, they evolved Sam
Yeah.
to some extent,
Yep.
but Sam's evolution led him right back to where he started
Right.
physically.
Sam matured. I don't think
He didn't evolve. Yeah,
he didn't evolve. He just matured out of, being the young professional, baseball player basically.
yeah. Sam, yeah. I think Sam just decided to learn. He eventually learned from his mistakes.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Um but
But real quick, Kirstie Alley.
mhm.
I forgot how funny she was.
Oh, fuck yes. Just hilarious in this show.
I forgot the Rebecca character. I think as a kid watching it, I remember her just being like just this mega corporate bitch.
Yep.
I forgot just the brilliant neuroses
Oh,
that,
yes.
that he had, and just how like she was just damaged and fucked up and hilarious.
Oh, yeah. And I love that they didn't just make her one of those, oh, Sam female characters
Right.
that, was just there to, well, Diane,
Yeah.
just to say, oh, you guys, cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
That she, like you said, she was a mess, man.
Yeah.
And
But she could still hold her own against Sam.
fuck yes. Oh,
And
she had some
that was the
great
cool
lines.
thing. Is that
Yep.
for as fucked up as she was, she'd still go toe to toe with anybody in the bar.
They had like the two of them going back and forth, like had some great verbal sparring,
Yeah.
and they both have amazing delivery. Her comedic timing is just top notch.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and she's fucking funny. I don't think I've seen her in a bad role. In
No.
all the shows she's done, she's fucking funny. Ted Danson, honestly, I don't think he's done a character that's not just Ted Danson in different clothes.
Yeah.
Like everybody it goes crazy over him in The Good Place. I'm like, yes, he was funny, but he was also Sam.
It was Sam. Old Sam as a demon. Yeah.
Right?
Great show.
Oh yeah.
He does a great job.
He was
Love
funny,
him in
but I didn't see any like wow, this is really a stretch for this guy.
Yeah, wow. He's got some chops.
Playing a smug asshole.
Wow. A smug asshole know it all. Wow.
Right.
Huh.
That's so weird.
Go.
Yeah. So I don't know. Overall, man, it was fucking long. I'll tell you that. I'm glad I went back and watched it. It was not how I remembered it, but again, I think I was remembering it incorrectly. I thought it was a lot more mean spirited, but looking back, it was the exact opposite. It was all friendly and warm. Everybody got along. Even yes, Carla cut everybody down.
Yeah,
but it was family.
Right. I mean, and there was good natured ribbing all about.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
Which is again, I think we draw a parallel to that, and I think any friend group does.
Right.
But it is interesting that the whole bar culture that, was that subconscious that we all ended up?
I don't know, and it was bothering me. I'm like, I don't remember like watching this show thinking, "Yep, I'm going to be that guy." But I look back at me in 1993. like, Jesus Christ, that was me. I was that guy back there, you know?
Yeah.
And it was terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I won't point at Cheers as being the catalyst for that. But
No.
again, going back to what we were talking about before, the bar culture of Columbus. I don't know.
Honestly, I think it's just our personalities too. I mean, like,
Yeah.
as a group, we had that same friendly ribbing, that we will just fucking cut each other and cut and cut and cut. But at the end of the day, we're all a family.
Yeah.
It's all in good natured fun. We're always going to have each other's backs and that kind of thing. So yeah, there were some disturbing parallels between this show and real life, but I think they would have occurred whether or not we had ever watched the show before. I don't think it was a result of it, but it was it was spooky looking back. I'm like, God damn. Like, just looking at the people in the background, watching how they were slumped over, playing with the napkins and shit. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So spooky stuff.
One of the cool things I recall from the earlier episodes with Coach is that every time Coach left at the end of the night, who needs a ride?
Yep.
Coach would drive people home.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
The other thing I forgot about was fucking Harry Anderson.
Yes. Okay.
Not to extend this any longer than it needs to be, but Harry fucking Anderson.
Yes. So those were awesome. And again, talk about an actor who's really, really good at one narrow thing.
Yep.
That guy is the king.
Yeah. He played Harry in both roles he had.
Yep. So as I was digging through the cast, he was on 6 episodes, right? Total.
Yeah.
So who else was in one episode?
John Cleese.
Marky Post.
Marky Post, no shit.
Yeah, no shit. I thought that was interesting. Like, I'll be damned. Again, it was on for 11 years. So you had hundreds of people going through that revolving door of characters. But the fact that both of them were on. So then it got me thinking, like, all right, was Larroquette on here, and just looking up the rest of the cast. But they were the only two that happened to show up. But I thought that was fun. But that very first episode, he shows up and he's like trying to swindle everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is the same character, Are they in a shared universe? Is Night Court down the street from Cheers? What's going on here?
Right. When he gets out of jail, does he go and get his law degree? How does this work? Did he get his degree in prison?
Yes, that's it. We're giving them a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was fun. But overall, yeah, it was fun. It was good watching it. And again, I think we talked about this with Taxi, that the sitcom of today is a completely different animal. And again, I got wrapped up in that the laugh track, the studio audience, the cacophony of just the, I'm going to say a line, I'm going to say a line, I'm going to set it up, here we go and knock it out, and clap, clap, clap. It just got old for me. So I don't know, maybe it's hard to go back and watch that. Again, I can appreciate the comedy of it, but if it's something I would watch today, absolutely not. It's too hard.
I think this would tank today, and I think you nailed it. It's too
dated.
The formula is too obvious.
Yep.
Try as they might, I mean, they're all good. By the end of the day, by the end of they were well developed. These characters, but it's hard that none of it felt organic.
Yes. Okay. That's a good way to put it. Yes.
And I don't want to just besmirch the talent of the actors, but
No, and again, it was that element of the time where you couldn't build the depth of character that you have now because there was no VCR, there was no DVR. There, you couldn't watch it the next day. Look at something. Okay, let me think of an example.
Look at like a Seinfeld.
Yes. Okay.
Not quite this, but roughly the same time.
Yep.
Towards the end, all of that dialogue, that interaction, the banter, all of it felt very organic.
Yes. You're right.
Whereas it seemed like in this one, maybe it was the showrunner or maybe it was the director. I don't know, but it was like, no, these are the lines that are written. These are the lines that you say.
Yep.
I don't care if you don't think Norm would say it this way. These are the lines you read.
Right.
And I think with Seinfeld, because the namesake was part of the cast, it was a different vibe. It was a different set, different show.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point.
There was a lot of riffing, and a lot of that show got written as they were recording it.
Mm-hmm.
Those rewrites happened organically in the flow. And I don't think, because of, I don't know, the way the show was done, that Cheers had that opportunity. I think all of those characters, for as long as they played them, all of those actors should have been able to go a little bit, not necessarily off leash, but cut on some slack. And I think you would have had a completely different animal. Really, outstandingly written show for the time.
Yep.
But it doesn't hold up.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
And that's kind of what separates it from a Seinfeld, which I think will always be a classic.
Seinfeld has aged better, and you're right. There was that overlap of the time frame. Seinfeld was a little bit later, but Seinfeld also had the advantage of taking the Cheers, the Taxis, the MASHs of the time and building on them. Exactly. And they, like you said, they had Seinfeld and fucking Larry David in the room.
Jeez, right? Yeah.
Right. So, yes.
And again, they had the virtue and the benefit of standing on the shoulders of giants.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time that Seinfeld started, the philosophy and the procedure and the whole concept of how to run a show, how to produce, how to direct changed. What's funny,
right?
Changed, evolved. It changed. So, yeah. Will Seinfeld, if 50 years from now, will we still be saying Seinfeld's funny? I don't know. But it's definitely got a more organic feel.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And maybe, I think you've hit it. That's what was missing. And I think that's what, and again, at the time, that's how sitcoms sounded. But when I listen to it now, it's like listening to something from your grandparents' musical era on a 78. You're like, God damn, you can sit and listen to this all day. This is terrible.
This was cool.
So, and again, I 100% can appreciate the skill and the talent that this cast and the writers and directors had, but it hasn't aged. And again, since I didn't have that emotional connection for it, it was homework. I'll be honest. I mean, there were some very, very funny episodes, but it was a trial. And again, especially after Diane left, I'm like, God damn, this is hard.
See, it's funny because complete opposite for me. After Diane left, I'm like, all right, this show's fucking funny.
Right. And didn't you say that too? You were just kind of letting it roll and just watching episode after episode after episode.
Yeah. And once I stopped doing that, and because Sarah brought up a good point, she's like, it's not meant to be watched like that.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I need a 7-day palate cleanser. Perhaps that will make it better.
Yes. Because it's not an ongoing story, like, let me think of something recent. Okay. Like, what was that show? The Middle with Patricia Heaton. I could probably watch that, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes in one sitting because there was a progression. They went through a school year during a season and things changed, and you had overarching stories, which you couldn't do back in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. Because again, if you missed an episode, you're fucked. You're never going to have an opportunity to see it again.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Middle's still funny.
It's a very funny show. Very funny show. And again, it's got that newish tempo to it, a different vibe where, you're not performing in front of a studio audience, so you don't have to have that timing. You can let jokes take a while to bake. You can flashback. Mm-hmm. You have all those opportunities. You can have characters talking in different rooms and get their point of view. So you have a lot more complexity available to you as a writer and director.
Yeah. Big difference.
Yes. It's not as theatrical as it was early days.
Yep. Right.
Huh. Okay.
So ultimately, thumbs down on Cheers?
No, I can't say it sucks. It's still a funny show, but
it's still funny. It works. Brilliant writing. It's small doses. I think Cheers works.
You know what? If I were flipping, if I could still have an opportunity to flip through channels, and I saw an episode of Cheers on, I would probably stop and watch it.
That is a good way to describe it.
Yeah, but I would never wake up on a Sunday morning and go, all right. I've got my popcorn, I've got my beer, I've got my diaper on. I'm going to watch Cheers until bedtime.
Yep.
That's not happening.
No.
Nah. But it is what it is. It's still amazing. But again, it's not something that I could watch, like you said, ad nauseum for any given time. Yeah. So we're not going to do another one of these for a couple months, but I'm just going to hit the old random number generator and see who's next.
Oh, please not MASH. Please not MASH.
Oh, fuck. No.
Another 11-season fucking epic.
Oh, Poltergeist.
Oh, let's do that next month. No, that's a good October one. That's a good October. We'll do that for October. Ooh, spooky.
God damn, you're a genius. Yes. So the 1982 Poltergeist. Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, get in and remove the graves.
That was amazing. I was working on. I'm not. Yeah, we're being recorded, aren't we? So, anyway, so I was working on my Coach impressions earlier today, and they're just not there.
Oh, God! I'd say what the first 2 seasons with Coach, he honestly is. I think is one of the funniest things in the entire show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because he was a sympathetic character.
Yeah, you couldn't help but not like him.
Yes, he was so likable and just so far left field. Everybody else has you're living through the drudgery of these people's lives.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, Coach comes up with something that's just so completely different from what was going on in front of you.
And I wish the guy had written some of the stuff down, but damn it.
He was the Reverend Jim of this show.
Oh, yes.
See? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He was their Reverend Jim. Because, it was the Burroughs guys that left Taxi.
Exactly. So he brought that same energy. Like, okay, you're kind of washing along and things are going along and everybody's talking about normal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes Coach just out of left field.
Yeah.
Talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, this was fun. And I don't want to watch MASH anytime soon. I love that show, but goddamn.
We can take that off the list if you want.
That's another 11 years.
Yeah.
Is that the longest one that's on here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Taxi was 5.
Cheers was 11.
Yeah, Cheers. Actually, MASH is the same dates, but exactly a decade before it. It was 72 to 83. Cheers was 82 to 93. Oh, we have Soap on here, too. That was only 4 years. That was a funny fucking show, too.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
1, 2.
I wonder if it'll hold up. We'll have to find out someday. So, we had originally talked about maybe doing an interview next month. I don't know if I'm ready yet. So, dredging up somebody else's psyche. So maybe we'll just go back to the kick it old school for a little bit.
No shortage of stupid criminals out there.
Amen to that. And they got a break this month too. We didn't pick on anybody since we were busy digging up our childhood.
What?
Doing the nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
and then I'll wrap up, I swear to God. But, okay, so looking back to your early teenage years, like you're 13 years old, okay? What's the one TV show that you could absolutely not live without? That you would cut your leg off to not miss an episode?
Oh, geez, I didn't know. 13, so that's 82. So
you were like early 80s, let's say.
I honestly, I can't, off the top of my head, cannot remember.
Okay.
I want to say probably fucking anything, because that was the age of like, oh, TV's on.
Yeah, absolutely.
My gut kind of says Doctor Who, but that was Catch Can on PBS.
See, what's funny is that I religiously, it was on in the afternoons on PBS, like after school, and I would watch Doctor Who and Dave Allen at Large.
Yes. Fucking love Dave Allen. Again,
fucking 80% of it went over my head. I was there was this guy drinking and chain smoking, missing a finger on TV. What in the fuck is going on here?
Just sitting there in a chair.
Just shoot the shit. Like, I don't get it, but I like your vibe, dude.
I'm totally digging this.
In fact, I'll tell you what, bringing that up, I think that's the TV show that I think helped mold early 20s Mike. I wanted to be Dave Allen, I just wanted to kick back, cross my legs, chain smoke and drink, and bitch about stuff.
And tell stories and talk.
Yes.
Dave Allen, oh my God, there was so much great shit on PBS late at night. Dave Allen, the two Ronnies, do you ever watch that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Fucking Benny Hill, Python. I mean, these are things that formulated the foundation of my comedy, of my sense of humor.
Yes. But I remember every day after school, my brother and I would come home and we would watch Dave Allen and Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Like religiously. Yep.
And like nobody else that I knew was watching the fucking PBS. So like I would steal all that shit and I was playground fodder. There you go. So a priest, a rabbi, and walk into a bar. Why do you gotta say it like that? Oh, because that's how I heard it. Why are you holding your finger like this? Shut up! I'm telling a joke.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's good stuff, man.
Shit, yeah.
Oh, fucking hilarious.
Dave Allen, you're like the only other person I know. And how is it now, like 40 years later, that I'm hearing that you knew what Dave Allen was?
Right? Well, I mean,
I'm not surprised.
Okay, so I get that, but what 14-year-old walks around the hallways of a Catholic school going, "Hey, man, any of you guys Dave Allen fans?" Yeah. Did you catch that episode last night with Twiggy? That was hilarious.
It was great. She's so cool. I loved her cameo in Blues Brothers.
At the gas station?
Yeah. That'll be $99. Okay.
Oh, fuck. Oh, that's some dumb stuff.
I love it.
See, we have to dig, and right at the end of the show is when like we find all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We will do this again in a month.
Cool.
And it'll be super fun.
Yeah.
I don't care who gets hurt in the process.
Nope.
Right on. Okay.
You sign up for.
Do you realize next summer is our 35th reunion?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Only because actually Steve Smith pointed that out to me.
What?
A couple of months ago. You reached out.
He was 87, right?
Worthington 87.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought he was a year ahead of us.
Yeah.
Wow, so he just reached out to rub it in that you're getting old?
Asking questions about a potential Brian Casey tribute.
Oh, wow.
Looking to get maybe the AVs back together.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, I don't think anybody wins if that happens.
No, and again,
there are much more talented people that were in Brian's circle that would probably do a better job than.
Yeah, like Larry and the Groove Children.
Yeah, like the bands that he were actually in.
Right? Yeah.
I would, and I told him, I absolutely will do anything I can to help or, participate. Right. Give me enough notice and maybe I'll come up and I'll try to sing something.
Right.
So, and I can't speak for anybody else in the quote unquote band, but yeah.
Right.
Not eager to headline anything.
And okay, so I kind of dig this idea, but logically, wouldn't it make sense to do it when Brian's class has their reunion?
That was what I brought up as well.
Okay.
And the other suggestion I made was, why not get like a really actual like house band?
Yeah.
And then invite, whatever members of whatever band or group to come up and do a song or two or whatever, a set or, whatever they're comfortable doing. But at the end of the, you've still got this foundation of a good house band that's accomplished and talented, currently. Parade us fucking oldsters through.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of a cool idea. He should really, and again, not the quarterback from the armchair or anything, but you should really reach out to Mike and talk to him about it.
Yeah.
But that is a very cool idea. I kind of like it.
We shall see. But yeah, 35 years since we graduated.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
any word of
shit?
venues?
No. God, no. It's way early in the process. But I swore a long time ago that as long as I had a full head of hair, I would keep going. So I guess I'll be attending next summer unless something terrible happens to my beautiful hairline before then.
I have not been to one since our 10, I think, or maybe our 5.
No, 10. 5 was in the cafeteria. 10 was the one that you showed up, and like Tansky had, Dustin was just a wee little baby that he brought. Remember that?
All right, so I didn't go to the 5. I went to the 10.
Yeah,
that was the only one I've been to.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. Like, I have pictures of you specifically at that reunion.
Yeah.
That was fun. That's when you had like the longer hair and you had it parted down the middle.
Oh my God.
Right? Yeah. Hard times.
Oof.
Yeah, we'll have to dig up some of those and put them online for you.
Thanks.
Yeah. If the Cupid didn't do enough damage.
Who doesn't love Cupid?
God damn it. Almost spit all over my keyboard.
And that's not the good one. You should have used the one when I'm sitting on the chair reading the paper. That's the good one.
That's the one I wanted, but the only one that Kristen had of that was where your face was blocked out.
I'll have to. I think I've got a copy of that. I'll put it out.
I'm sure that's floating around somewhere. Or if any of you dozen or so listeners want to help us out here, please feel free. Okay, so we wrapped up early and then we ran long. So we're so good at this.
And rambled. So yeah, if you're still listening, it's on you.
Right? This is all on you.
Yeah.
We would have gone home hours ago.
Right.
But thanks. Yeah, thanks for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess until next month, we will bid you adieu.
Ciao for now.